The season for indulging, but this year, give children more of what they need and a little less of what they don't. Pediatrician Dr. Cara Natterson is a graduate of Harvard University and Johns Hopkins Schools of Medicine and author of 2 medical resource guides for parents and mother of 2. What a resume you have. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, too. And, I want to mention that more than 10% of American children between the ages of 2 and 5 are already classified as obese. So what's the biggest culprit of childhood obesity?
I think that number is really astounding at 10%.
Yeah.
And it comes from a study called FITS, which is the Feeding Infants and Toddlers study that was started about 10 years ago by Gerber. What FITS found is that kids are eating too much sugar and too much saturated fat. It also found that kids are eating a huge number of calories in their snacks. 1 out of every 3 calories that a child eats during the day is from a snack.
Wow.
And that's kind of remarkable.
It is. And, we're taught to kind of snack throughout the day, eat a certain amount of meals throughout the day so you don't get too hungry in any one given meal. But it's not healthy if those snacks are providing too many calories for them, and it adds up.
Well, that's right. You should think of your snacks like mini meals, okay? Because they're contributing a lot of your caloric load. So eat fresh fruits, vegetables, give your kids low-fat yogurts and whole grains, but try to steer away from the saturated fats and from the sugars during those snacking periods because it makes a big difference.
Well, really good advice right there. And, children as young as 12 and 24 months are beginning to develop some really unhealthy dietary patterns. So what should the toddlers be eating right now?
So FITS found that kids who are starting to eat at a year are already telling their parents what they like and don't like, and the parents are already shifting around what they're giving their kids, and by 2 years, would you believe it, these kids' dietary patterns are set. And they're eating as 2-year-olds the way they're going to eat for the rest of their life.
Sure.
So the goal is to teach our kids very young how to eat a balanced, healthy diet. Sometimes it's easy for parents to go to the grocery store, cut up fresh fruits and vegetables, make it all available at home. But if it's not easy to do, then you want to pick grab-and-go snacks that are going to be healthy for your kids. And so, Gerber has collected all this data about how our kids eat. They also make the foods that our kids can consume to make our kids a little bit healthier. And those are foods like the yogurt melts and the little bite-sized veggies and fruits that they have. So any of those options are fine. You can do it on your own as well.
Is there any food that kids aren't eating enough of?
Well, most people would say that because they're eating too many sweets and fats, they're not eating enough fruits and veggies. I mean, it's really a trade-off. There's only so much you can consume in a day. So if we can get the healthy food up, it automatically pushes the bad food down.
That's a good point. And, many parents now working all day, and they want to make sure that their kids can eat well while they're out and about doing their job so that they can provide everything for their kids. And a lot of times, kids are sacrificing exercise as well because they don't have their parents around as much to kind of do these things with them. So what do you recommend?
Well, that's a huge piece of the problem, is that kids aren't moving nearly enough anymore. So we've got to get our kids off the screens, off television, off videos, out and moving. I love when kids exercise with their parents because I think that's great catch-up time and everyone needs to move. And I also love family dinner where everyone sits around the table. The chance that you're going to eat a healthy meal is much better if it's a family dinner as opposed to breaking it up and feeding the kids in one sitting and feeding the adults in another.
And it becomes a family activity. I mean, a lot of times, in your entire life, you center your time with family and your social time around meals. And to be able to start those patterns young and be with your family when you indulge is a good thing because they can keep an eye on you, too.
That's right, and it's a great time to check in emotionally. It's a great time to catch up with your kids in their social world. So there are a ton of benefits to family dinner that go beyond basic nutrition.
Definitely. Let me ask you this. What are some of the best bets for indulging in moderation, and how can a parent set a really good example?
Well, in my house, I tell my kids we do 1 treat a day, and especially in the holiday season, this makes a big difference. So your child can pick the treat that they want, but then once they've had it, they're done. You as a parent really need to follow through with that as well. That means that if you're going to have a sugary drink, that's your treat, you're done, and you're going to model for your children that you're not also going to have the cookie. So practice what you preach. It makes a big difference.
And for the parents out there who are trying to watch their diets, it's a good little lesson for them too, because if they have to be the role model and set the example, they won't overdo it either.
That's right. Let your kid be your motivator. That's fantastic, and it'll really help.
Well, Dr. Natterson, your books, I mean, they're really helpful. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about them?
Sure. I've written a couple of handbooks for parents called Your Newborn Head to Toe and Your Toddler Head to Toe, and those are reference guides for when your child has a certain illness or problem. You can flip open the page and figure out what to do and when to call your doctor. And then I wrote a book called Worry Proof that teaches parents how to relax a little about all those things that we fear. There's a lot of good science that shows that our generation of parents can just take a little bit of a breath here.
Yes.
And there are certain things we need to focus on, but we don't need to stress about everything.
And where can we get those books and more information from you?
Amazon.com or any local retailer should have those books. And go ahead and look at Gerber.com for more information about the FIT study, or go to the American Academy of Pediatrics website, which is healthychildren.org. They have fabulous resources for parents about how to feed your children well.
Fantastic. And of course, we'll have more of that information right here on our website as well at CASA.com. Dr. Natterson, thank you so much for joining us. Really good tips.
Thank you. Have happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too, and we'll be right back.